Lots of suspense. Special effects. Sex.
Got a surprise for you.
He's here?
Maybe.
Oh my God. Billy Zane, come on out. He's not here. Can you imagine? I'd cry. Guys, welcome to another episode of Katie Afraidy on the Fangoria Network. I'm your host, Katie Hettenbach, and I am here with the awesome Jason Stein from Dads from the Crypt. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me. This is a real treat.
I know. I was on your podcast a while ago, and
yeah, this is my first time actually leaving my house to do a podcast.
Ever?
I've only ever done it from like my desk that I work from anyways. To a computer, and so having someone like physically here.
Yeah, to like talk to them.
Totally
yeah,
different, but it's really cool.
That's awesome. Well, I'm thankful that you're here. So I hear you're a big Tales from the Crypt guy.
Yeah, you could say that. I don't know if the camera's showing, but I got my Crypt Keeper tattoo last week, and it's healing nicely. But it was my first ever tattoo.
Okay.
And it's one of those like some people wonder whether you're gonna by the time you're 40, if you get a tattoo, if you've gotten a tattoo by then, are you gonna do it? But sometimes I think. If you wait that long, it means more because you have more life built up.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about tattoos. We're talking about Tales from the Crypt.
But you got a Tales of the Crypt tattoo because it means so much to you.
Yeah, it's funny because it's one of those things. So I turned 40 on the January 6th.
Okay.
That's kind of the impetus of a lot of this. So it's during pandemic, shit's going down. So you're kind of like, what am I doing with my life? Like I've got my family, got my career, but like you want to find something creative. And then I've always loved Tales from the Crypt. And I've thought about back in the blog days when everyone had a horror blog, I thought about doing a Tales from the Crypt review where I do an episode every time, but I never really got my act together. And then I was doing trivia during COVID with some friends and made a bunch of friends that way, horror trivia. And that was kind of like our social activity for the week. And then, became really good friends with a couple guys. And then because on me, I made a PowerPoint presentation.
Of course.
About this crazy idea of a podcast. And they're like, you had us at Tales from the Crypt podcast.
Yeah.
But like, coming up with, slides and everything.
Yeah.
And my goal was always to try to be like not definitive, but like the most engrossing podcast, like not leaving any stone unturned. So I wanted to do interviews and all this stuff. And we thought, we're dads, make it dad themed. Tales from the Crypt is all dad jokes anyways.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So like I started sending out interview requests to John Kassir, who does the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And within like 3 hours, I got a yes. And I was like, is this a joke?
You're like, this is funny.
It can't be that easy.
That's so cool.
And then I'm like, wait, how do I do an interview?
It's hard. It took me, I mean, for the people who are starting to watch the older episodes from Horror at the Store, that was the first handful of episodes were rough. They were rough. But, you get the hang of it.
You get the hang of it, and then it's awesome. So like someone told me to watch Hot Ones.
Yes. So fun.
Kind of see the way he talks to people and the kind of questions. So it's not like you like doing stuff like you want to go deeper.
Yeah.
So I came up with at least 40 questions for John Kassir, who does the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and turns out I only got to like 5 of them. Yeah. Because he is just a natural performer, talker. He did like a one-man show. So he's got that propulsion.
I got you, yeah.
So he just kept talking, but tell me all the stuff I wanted to hear. So I was just like, okay, I'm just throwing everything out and he's just giving us all the stuff we want anyways.
I love that.
And then, so we've been around for about 2 years. We've been reviewing all of the Tales from the Crypt episodes. We've done the movies. And I even I've become good friends with Al Katz and Gil Adler, who were the producers on the show. And I helped them start their own podcast. The first 10 episodes is all about the disaster of making the sequel to Demon Knight Bordello Blood. Okay. And everything that went wrong with that movie and kind of taints a lot of careers and a lot of the franchise in general.
Yeah.
So I've become good friends with them. We've collaborated a ton. We're in the last season of Tales from the Crypt, so we've started doing an episode and an anthology movie, kind of alternating back and forth to kind of stretch things out. So we should be done with the show around the end of this year.
Wow. And then what?
We've got some ideas. We're not entirely sure. Every couple of weeks I get another idea. So
yeah.
I'm kind of like cataloging the ideas. And then towards the end, we'll sit down and say, okay, which is the good ideas, which is the bad ideas. And we'll keep going and definitely a capacity. We'll always have the spirit of Tales of the Crypt. You can always go back and do things with it.
Oh, yeah.
But in a nutshell, that's the show.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's so exciting, though. And how many seasons of Tales of the Crypt and Tales from the Crypt? I keep saying Tales of the Crypt. That's not something else. That's something else. I don't know what that is. But how many
That's the off-brand
seasons?
version.
Exactly. How many seasons and then how many movies are there?
So there's 7 seasons.
Okay.
The last one, for a bunch of reasons, they moved to England.
Okay.
And it just took a real dive.
Okay.
I think after 2 movies that they did during the show, I think they were just kind of drained, and they thought a change of location would help, and it does to a certain degree, but it just doesn't have the magic the show had previously. As far as movies, as we know, there's Demon Knight and there's Bordello Blood. There's a 3rd movie that is kind of sort of like, if you want to be really technical, it's basically they made it, and then at the last second they decided to put Tales from the Crypt in front of it to try to help out. It's a Jennifer Grey, Tim Curry voodoo kind of movie.
Fun.
It's really bad.
I love it. Yes. I want it.
It's if you want a really bad movie, and bad in the kind of bad in the bad way, not in the bad in the fun way.
Yeah.
Like I got my wife for the first time to watch Deep Blue Sea, which is a really big, dumb but really fun movie. This is not that kind of movie. It's a lot of things just don't make sense. And, So they slapped the Tales of the Crypt thing on it just to try to help promote it. And now that's the last official Tales thing that's come out so far, and we don't know if anything else is going to happen because the rights are all tied up. Never say never, because that's a long time, but in the foreseeable future,
hey,
like,
do it. Have you thought about writing a Tales of the Crypt?
Oh gosh, I couldn't even think about that. I have an idea for something that I would want to see. I don't think,
but you could write it.
Maybe,
and then you could be like,
maybe, but it wouldn't be strictly Tales from the Crypt. It would be. I'll tell you off camera. Because, I don't know.
Hey, you never know who's listening to this podcast.
Yeah,
someone's going to steal the idea.
Right.
No one steal his idea.
I'll just say this: that I think people always talk about, we need a new one, we need a revival. I don't know if it's possible to capture what that show was.
Yeah.
Either you're going to repeat what they've already done, or you can try to do something new, and people are going to be mad. It's not the thing they know.
Yeah.
So what I really want would be, and this isn't the idea, but what I think they should do with, at least for now, is at least give them a good Blu-ray, clean it up.
Yeah.
Because you can't legally buy it anywhere. Again, you cannot buy legally anything with the Crypt Keeper from the show.
Interesting. Okay.
So that image, that character that the show made, because it's all based on the EC comics, and they had the witch, I think it's the old man and the Crypt Keeper, and they kind of put them all together to make the Crypt Keeper that we know from the HBO show. So that is licensed.
Okay, got it.
So, and Joel Silver Productions, or whoever that's all tied to, they're not willing to do anything with it.
Got it.
So you cannot buy a faction figure, like a NECA figure. So you can do a lot of things off like modifications. I know people have taken like the Creeper from like Creep Show and turned that into a Crypt Keeper.
Got it. Okay.
Because you can do things like that, but
because when I was looking it up to watch it, the movie that we watched today, I kept typing in Creep Show because we've reviewed Creep Show earlier in the when we were doing horror at the store, and I was like, what am I doing? This is a different, but they're very similar.
Yeah,
so that's interesting.
Well, because Creep Show was meant to be an EC Comics kind of adaptation, but without having to get the approval. So it's like inspired by EC Comics without being official EC Comics.
Yeah, cool. I'm learning stuff.
Yeah,
that's exciting. You were adamant about watching this movie, and I loved it. You're like, so we're watching this, and I was like, yep, we are. We watched Demon Knight. Which is Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. And I had no idea what I was getting into.
I love that. Because I wish there was like a device that can make me forget ever seeing a movie or something like that. Kind of like Eternal Sunshine. Yeah. That kind of thing where like if you could just forget all about something. Like imagine watching Terminator 2 for the first time all over again. Like,
I haven't seen it, so
you haven't seen Terminator 2? Oh.
No, it's been everyone's been like, you haven't seen that movie? I'm like, there's a lot of things I haven't. I've watched a lot of movies, but I also haven't seen a lot of movies.
Of course there's some movies that everyone hasn't seen, but
That one I
That's
know.
a good one.
I know I need to watch it. It's been on the list for a while.
But your job is to watch movies.
Yeah.
Or like based on a schedule. So you don't have that much leeway.
Yeah, but Demon Knight.
Demon Knight. Tell me, I want to hear what your first impression.
Wild. Well, first I'm gonna read the synopsis.
Okay.
Because I was like, let me try to like remember off the top of my head, and I was like, I don't know if I could explain this movie and make it make sense. So I'm just gonna read what IMDb said.
Okay.
High-level demons collect low-level demons as warriors in attempt to obtain a key containing the blood of Christ. The key is guarded by immortal warriors called Demon Knights.
That's one way to say it.
Yeah. Billy Zane, Jada Pinkett Smith. Whoo, man.
Sadler, Dick Miller.
Yes.
C.C. Pounder.
Yes. What's that actor's
and
name
Charles
that I love?
Fleischer.
There's the actor who's in a bunch of movies that I love him, and I always Thomas Hayden Church.
Yes.
I always forget his name, but I love his face. Mm-hmm. He's hilarious and wonderful. I love going into movies not reading anything. I just go into it, and this one. It started, even during our episode, I was like, it started off kind of slow, Tales of the Crypt, giving story or whatever. Mm-hmm. But once it picked up, maybe honestly, once Billy Zane got on camera, I was like, more Billy Zane, more of this. Well, and because he's a cowboy, he's just a silly little goofy cowboy, and then he's actually not. He is a demon.
He's a demon.
He's a demon. He's a demon. He's a demon cowboy.
Well,
but.
What did you think of that very opening bit with the woman in the bathtub?
Yes. Oh, that was interesting. I was like, oh, where is this gonna go? And I was confused about because she just like murdered. Like you think that she like just killed somebody, and then or like she did or whatever, and then she's like, I'm just gonna take a bath, and I'm like, did you not double check that he was dead, or like make sure he didn't come back?
Right. Well, I mean, again, technically, this is adapting a TV show into a movie. And, anytime you do that, you have the challenge of a TV show has a certain format that you're expecting to be translated to a movie. And how do you stick to that in a movie form? So I think that little bit is kind of a nod to this is like a mini Tales from the Crypt episode.
Yeah. And then, it's the movie within the movie. That's where I was. That's where I was.
And John Larroquette is playing.
I loved it. I love when they do that. And then the whole thing is obviously a movie within a movie. And then
so like it's kind of like saying, okay, we know this is Tales from the Crypt, this is what we're used to, but no, we're going to give you a whole other thing. It's very in the spirit.
He's like, we've gone Hollywood, baby.
Yeah. Well, and also every episode of the Tales from the Crypt, the show is based on a specific comic book, or at least the title is, and some of the themes. Some of them don't really have much to do in general, but at least all those. So this is like the first Tales thing that is 100% original. Yeah,
and I love that throughout the movie that the little boy is reading Tales of the Crypt, and like what's happening is happening on the page. It's like the next page. I love that they flip back and forth from that, but I'm also like, nice.
Well, it's we're definitely jumping towards the end, but that he gets turned evil by the comic book is a kind of I think is a nod to the fact that like they had hearings about these comic books in the 50s about like how they were corrupting the youth.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like it's kind of a bit like, oh, you want to see us corrupt the youth? Here we're going to show you.
We're going to corrupt the youth, all right. Now the kid's a demon, and his jaw's going to come unhinged, and it's going to be gone, and he's going to have a really long tongue for some reason. He's going to be biting everyone, and we're going to shoot him in the head and knock him out the window.
He's going to have like that shoe that falls perfectly, the Dutch angle. Yeah.
Yes.
Great shot.
It's so Billy Zane's this high-level demon, and he's trying to get. I didn't get that it was the blood of Christ until after I read it, because I obviously read the synopsis afterwards. I just was like, he's like, give me the key, and I was like, first of all, that's not a key, that's a flask. First of all,
flask.
a blood flask. And I was, I didn't quite like put together that it was blood, and then when they poured it. So to like protect themselves, you pour the blood in like a doorway or
it creates the seal.
It creates a seal to like so that the demons can't get in. And once Billy Zane's like, I'm a demon, they're like the protector of them. What was his name? I'm always like I'm terrible at names. Stryker. Yeah, he's like, we have to Breaker. I'm terrible with names. That's like I'm like that guy.
So this is why
the guy
at home I have my computer monitor with all the names. You've seen them.
Yeah. Oh, you got mad spreadsheets.
So,
but
that's why I can have all the characters in front of me.
Oh yeah, no, it's always like that girl, but then it's like Jada Pinkett Smith. That's so he's like, I'm a demon, and then the I don't even know how to explain it. You take the key that's a flask with the blood of Christ, seal all the doorways, and now they're just trapped in this house. And Billy Zane's just taunting them with these. I want to say, I mean, it's obviously a version of the Crypt Keeper, but it's also giving Return of the Living Dead zombies. I'm thinking oil slick zombie. That's where my brain goes.
Tarman.
Yeah, Tarman. That's the initial zombie I'm thinking.
So
of.
the script was written by three guys: Ethan, Cyrus, and I think his name is Mark. It's kind of the third guy. And they were like just fresh out of NYU. And a friend of theirs said this company is trying to make a low budget horror film. They want to set one location because that's cheaper.
Yeah.
And they're talking like, the original Night of the Living Dead and Precinct 13. So these guys sat down and one weekend they kind of banged out a treatment. And they handed the guy like, nothing happens. No, they don't go anywhere. Like, no, you told us one location.
Yeah. This is
like,
what we got.
So he kind of, that's not what I wanted. So he passes on it. Which is, and that's the real irony of this movie, that if he had made the movie at a low budget in the late 80s, it would probably have like been the low budget, kind of okay, kind of a cult, smaller cult, and probably had like 5 sequels by now.
Oh, 100%.
But because it got thrown around a bunch and then turned into a Crypt thing, you got this really cool big movie.
Yeah.
But nothing can happen with it because it's tied to Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
That's the irony of that. So, but yeah, so the whole thing is designed to be like kind of a one location, trapped in the house, with bad things happening over one night.
They did it really well. Like it genuinely, I was like, whoa, there's some, this is gory. This is kind of, this is, I wouldn't say I was scared, but I was like, this is creepy.
Yeah, I mean, this came out, I was probably in middle school, I want to say, and just remember seeing the previews with the demons, and it's cool because they're just like skinny people with like these kind of prosthetics. Yeah. And with these kind of cool hair, and they've got like piercings and stuff. Yeah. Those things freaked me out when I was younger. And then, so, so you've got, it's kind of, that's kind of the essence of the Tales from the Crypt vibe. So you've got violence, you've got gore, you've got a handful of boobs.
Oh yeah, lots of... Especially
Uncle Willie.
In the Uncle Willie, there's a character named Uncle Willie, and he's a drunk. And the whole time he's just like, well, I guess I need more alcohol. And Billy Zane starts picking them off one by one by getting into their heads. And he picks him off by being like, hey, you're now at a bar and everyone's topless. And they're all being like, hey, come have a drink. And now he's a bartender. It's almost like Freddy Krueger-esque. Yeah. Where he's like, hey, do you want a drink? Hey, uncle, get over here. No, you got this drink. You need to drink more. And give me your soul. And then he's a demon. Oh, that's all it takes. Boobs, and some alcohol, and then you're a demon.
For some guys,
yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got kind of an uncle or some crazy relative, and, and one of the jokes that they were that they kind of talked about during production is like, well, whose uncle is he? And they're like, everyone's.
Yeah, he's just uncle. Yeah,
just uncle.
Yeah.
And like, it's interesting, Freddy Krueger, but one of the things that Billy Zane that says that like he's kind of thought of like the genie from Aladdin. Yeah. It's just kind of anything you can think of, you just kind of make happen. But what's cool is, again, given this time frame and the budget, they didn't have like big CGI effects. Everything was kind of practical. So like probably one of my favorite moments in this movie is when he's trying to get Roach to break the seal. Yeah. And he like opens his mouth and the sponge just kind of pops out.
Was so funny. It was almost like a cheap magician's act. I was like, okay. He literally had that in his mouth. I was just like,
it's just a makeup sponge that he just grabbed from the set. Yeah. And he does that little eye thing, like, oh, he gets like his eyebrows.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of seductive in a way.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about that movie, because it's so practical. It's so
Yeah.
but it works so perfectly.
I think the simpler the better,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they did it really well.
Yeah, I mean, they could have had like, some CGI, like, beam of light and the sponge could appear. And
Yeah.
okay, that would look decent for the time.
Yeah, but
like,
it's funnier to have
so
it
much
come.
funnier.
But it's also Tales from the Crypt is like known for, like having those dark moments, but also those like little like quick whips.
Oh, it's funny.
They're like, oh, that's funny. You're like, oh, hey, everyone's head's getting ripped off. Oh, but he's got a sponge out of his mouth. That's funny.
Yeah. But those little bits where like Cordelia, the sex worker, is on the table, and the CCH Pounder walks by and is like, get that pussy off the table. And she like jumps off, like, I was talking about the cats.
She's like, oh, my bad. I'll sit back where I was. Apologize. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So what was your favorite moment?
Oh man,
I know.
Sponge scene.
Sponge scene's the best.
It's because it's so simple.
Tier. Yeah.
That, and then also when like when the collector gives up all pretenses, and he's like, fuck this cowboy shit, and just like throws off, because that's the whole thing in the beginting. You don't really know who the good guy is, who the bad guy is. You think Billy Zane, he's got a big, like a comically large cowboy hat and like a big trench coat, so you think he's a lawman. You got Breaker with his leather jacket. So like when they finally drop all the pretenses, and you just kind of like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna be myself. And then the really cool effects of the demons rising from the ground.
Yes.
That's really cool. And then my other one is when Breaker, it's kind of about 3/4 of the way through, and they're like, Breaker, just tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
And he gives kind of this monologue, and I always refer to it as like the Annapolis monologue, like from Jaws.
Yeah.
Quint tells them about his backstory and everything. It's kind of that moment where they realize the gravity of what's happening. So again, this is credit to the writers, that they could have just had like any magical MacGuffin, but one, to make it a defensive and offensive weapon.
True.
So something that could be used for defense, or in the end used as an offensive weapon with the blood that's containing. That's really cool. But also to make it like the whole universe is writing on this thing, gives a whole, and it's also this like cosmic struggle throughout the years. So again, one of the sad things about this movie is that there haven't been any sequels or prequels or comic books or anything. Yeah. So like, could you imagine like even a graphic novel or something about like medieval knights fighting demons over the key? Like, how badass would that be? That'd
be cool to like
get, or samurai or something.
Yeah, to also, to get more backstory and context on them. I think that would be interesting, because again, like with the Tales from the Crypt. I keep saying Tales of the Crypt. Tales from the Crypt. I'm gonna get it right one day. Maybe not today, but one day. But it started off so like they always start off really slow, and I'm the kind of like, my intention is like, I want to get it going, but I think it worked, and to have that like the prequel, I think that would be interesting, to like what happened before Breaker, like who gave him this power,
right? And they show that a little bit with the World War I scene, but like how did that guy get it, and just kind of like throw it. You can do anything.
But then I was so when he had like the flashbacks to like, or the flashes to like Jesus on the cross, I was like, what's going on? I was like, what's going on? When do they explain this? Where's Jesus?
Well, that's like showing, not telling.
Yeah.
And I guess they're trying to make like a parallel between the divine. Yeah, whatever's going on there.
I was like, what's happening? One of my favorite moments and favorite lines is that I forget who does it, but one of the girls, like the demon pops up and she punches it and she goes, "I'm so sorry."
Yeah,
I was like, you
it's great.
Just hit you. It's a demon. They're gonna kill you.
Right,
they're not.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, I punched you. And then she ends up dying. I'm like, well, that's
and that's just another tragic character there that like. Again, it could just been a throwaway. Okay, she's a sex worker. We're just gonna kill her off eventually.
Oh, that was her. Yeah. Okay.
So like, but to give her like a real like pathos, and like she just wanted to be loved, and he was willing to give her the love, at least she thought. So it's this whole other level, and like, because
like, I love you. I want to start a life with you. And she's like, you know what? That sounds nice.
Yeah.
That sounds really nice.
I mean, Billy Zane shows up, says he wants a life with me. Sorry.
I mean, I'm running away with him immediately. Yeah, Billy Zane. I saw him at Comic-Con and I was like, I'm in love.
Yeah.
Billy Zane.
He's a gorgeous man.
He's stunning.
But again, because I'm such a nerd for this movie, I read the book adaptation.
Oh, I love that.
And they added a bunch more to it. So
Okay.
like, supposedly the town used to be this big, vibrant town, but then like the highway moved. I forgot exactly what it was. They lost all the money. Cordelia actually used to be the school teacher, and she lost her job because there weren't enough kids to teach.
Yes.
So then she became a sex worker because of that, which again adds even more like layers. And again, I think this movie is so well casted. And because there's already rich characters written in there. Yeah, and again, this was directed by Ernest Dickerson, who was Spike Lee's like longtime director of photography. He did Eddie Murphy's Raw.
Okay, yeah.
And then like whatchamacallit? Oh, what's the big Spike Lee movie? I'm blanking. Do the Right Thing.
Yes.
Do the Right Thing. A lot of his early 90s, late 80s movies. And then, then Ernest said go off and become his own director. And then I've interviewed Ernest for my podcast, and he's like a huge horror nerd and anime nerd.
Yeah.
He's just a cool guy.
That's awesome.
So he brought in a lot of like aliens into this movie and a lot of Carpenter bits and stuff. So like,
Cool.
yeah. And actually at one point, Tom Holland was in slate to direct. He did like Fright Night and Child's Play, and he wanted Chris Sarandon
Oh, fun.
to be the collector.
That's fun.
And like, yeah, I definitely could see that. I think Billy Zane is an iconic performance in that.
Yeah,
I think Chris Sarandon would be very, very good.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd be that level, but you never know.
I mean, we never know. It's interesting to see who was up for those parts and stuff, and to even see like the amount of people that are in this. Like I was like Jada Pinkett Smith. I'm like, is that Jada Pinkett Smith? I'm like, no, that is a baby Jada Pinkett Smith, and she's badass in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, how many other horror movies do we have a black character make it all the way to the end, much less being the final?
Yeah,
character.
The final girl. That she's
The only survivor.
the only survivor. She badass throughout the movie, and I love how Billy Zane is his character, the collector, is just obsessed with her. He's like, I know you're powerful, but I'm Billy Zane and I have charm, and you're gonna fall in love with me. I'm gonna turn you into a demon. Honestly, I can make you a hot demon. And I'm like, oh, hey, I see. If I was in there, I'd be like, as long as I'm not an ugly demon.
Yeah, you can be a demon. Just not
I'm not giving my soul. You're pretty convincing.
Yeah. Originally, they were talking about having a young Cameron Diaz.
Oh, okay.
Which it'd be different.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot different.
Yeah.
But it'd be good. I don't think it would be as good.
I think that would be interesting. Can't see her playing anything in a horror movie.
I know. It's kind of.
She's too funny.
Yeah, she's a little. Yeah.
And like, but she is a badass.
Maybe she could bring it if given the opportunity.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
played like femme fatale.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say an actor couldn't do something, given the opportunity, but I don't think it'd be as good as
Yeah.
Jada is.
I think it would be interesting. I mean, it would be interesting to see her try. You know what? Hey, she should do a reading of it.
There we go.
And see how that goes.
There we go.
Why not?
My other theory for the collector, Billy Zane, is that like, so at one point, he talks about, he's a higher level demon.
Yeah.
But he's not the highest. So my theory is, well, that he's like middle management. So how there's always like a middle manager who's trying to like overachieve and suck up and like thinks he's the shit, but really, he's just groveling to another higher manager. So that's kind of where he falls in the demon structure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been there, been there.
Yep. We've all had those bosses.
John, we've been there, right? Yep. He nodded. You can't see him. There's no camera. I wish there was like a third or like a fourth camera that's just on you. That's like a POV.
I think I'm good.
No, I think it'd be great. I think it'd be funny.
And then, we got a shout out for William Sadler. I've also talked to him a handful of times. Super nice guy. And he was actually in the very first episode of Tales from the Crypt. So it makes it even more like profound that they got him back for this. And he doesn't have like the biggest showy performance per se, but like he just wears the weight of the world, the universe on the shoulders. He's got that, just that walk of like, I'm just I'm so tired and burdened with all this crap. I just want to be over with.
It's the whole cast really did a good job, and it was interesting to see all of their characters like interact. And everyone's like, "It's my uncle." They're like, "No, you're not related to anybody here. He's just the uncle. He's just hanging out." And whose kid was that? Who's
like within the movie?
Yeah.
So he's the kid of the diner owner. So there's that diner that Roach works at, and there's a scene in the beginning where Breaker's trying to break into a car.
Oh,
and
yes,
the kid
yes,
sees
yes,
them
yes,
and offers him a shiny quarter, which is like kind of creepy.
Hey,
you want a shiny quarter, kid?
He's trying to break in with like a knife, and the kid's like, "Are you trying to break in the car?" He's like, "No, I'm trying to make sure that you can't break in," and it worked. Shiny quarter, child. Something shiny. Ooh, piece of candy. You throw it and then run.
Right.
That was hilarious.
That was funny.
But
so
his parents died pretty quickly.
Yeah. So supposedly the collector went into town.
Got it.
And pretty much corrupted everyone into becoming demons and sent them into the tunnels, because there's that whole like kind of again very aliens like tunnel scene where they're kind of going around. Then they run into a couple demons, and that's the parents that they run into.
Got it. Oh, poor kid. Poor kid.
Yeah.
But hey, he met up with his parents, because as he's again, we said before, at mid fight, he's like, you know what? I know there are demons outside, but I really want to read a comic book right now. And of course, it's Tales from the Crypt, because why? What else? What other comic would he be reading?
Right.
Silly. And then if Billy Zane's like, hey, I'm gonna corrupt this kid right now. Demon through the comic book. Now he's a demon. Now he's trying to murder everybody.
Because we all know that's what comics do.
That's
corrupt all kids.
Comics. Don't even get me started about video games.
Oh,
comics,
man.
video games, television, movies, horror
straight
movies.
to hell.
Oh my God, horror movies are corrupting the youth of America. The world. Look at us. Look at us. We're terrible people because we watch horror movies. God,
We're just sitting here podcasting, videoing.
God,
about horror movies.
It's the worst. God, we're just awful.
Degenerates.
Awful people.
In a comedy.
We should be put down immediately. Euthanized.
No, it's demonized.
Billy Zane, he walks in.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He's like, I'm here. I'd be like, Billy, hi. What's up? Oh man, now
I've got a surprise for you.
He's here?
Maybe.
Oh my God. Billy Zane, come on out. He's not here. Can you imagine? I'd cry. I don't know if I'd cry. I think I'd be like, this is insane. This is weird. This is hilarious. I don't know what I would do.
Yeah. If Billy Zane walked in right now.
I honestly would just start laughing, and I'd be like, this is hilarious. Come on in. Do you need a microphone? Do you need water? What do you need? What do you need, Demon King? Hello. Or middle management. I don't know what you are.
We don't want to tell someone's middle management that they're middle management.
You're right. They because they have a I call
fragile
it
ego.
Fragile ego. I also call it small dick energy.
Yeah.
Where they got a huge ego, but they're really fragile. So if you cross them, they'll just be like, "I want to kill you," which he does. You cross him and he will kill you. I love when, like we said with Roach, which again, great name.
Yeah.
Great name. I wish I had a friend named Roach. I think I've decided that I'm just gonna give a friend that nickname, and there's nothing they can do to change my mind.
Just the next friend that you make.
Yes. No, honestly, just one that I've had before, and I'm just gonna start calling them Roach and not tell them why.
Oh.
And just be like, "Hey, Roach, what's up?" And I'm gonna get everyone to do it, and just, yeah, that's their name from now on.
Nice.
I think it's gonna be good. But I loved when Billy Zane, we talked about it with the sponge, but being like, "I'm not gonna kill you. Hey, I'll make a deal with you. You give me the key with Christ's blood in it, and we'll call this a day, and you can head on your merry way." And he's like, "Perfect. You're not that bad of a guy, Billy Zane. You're a great guy."
See, I got hemorrhoids. Ugh.
I was like, okay. I was like, thanks for sharing. TMI, gross, bye. And then if Billy Zane's like, it's this one little thing. I did lie. So the demons, I was like, why would you trust? He's so convincing.
Yeah.
He's just so charming. That's how they get you. That's how they get you. like to think that I could, defeat that power. But when the charm's on, the charm's on. He's a charmer.
Yeah, and Roach is just one of those characters. You're just waiting for him to get his. And just waiting
Because he's a dick
he's
the whole
such a
movie.
dick.
With Breaker, he's like, just fucking kill this guy. Oh my God, give me the gun. Why are we trusting him? Let's get out of here. Breaker's like, no, you gotta listen to me. This is what's happening. There are demons out there. And he's like, I don't care. I want to go home. I'm tired. I got things to do. I'm Roach. He's got
nothing to do.
He's got nothing to do. Where are you gonna go? Everyone's a demon. What are you gonna do now, Roach?
Right.
You're gonna go back to the diner. You're gonna go work at the diner with all the demons. You're gonna feed them little diner food.
Like in the Gremlins.
Yeah.
Was it Phoebe Cates?
Yeah.
She's like serving all the Gremlins.
He's like, just take it. Yeah. It's that, but it's Roach. And I think he'd be like, hey, you guys, you didn't tip me. A $5 tip on an $80 bill, and then that's when he would die because he. So you know what? Fair enough. I'll take it. Hey, $5. Take it. That's enough. It's $580 tip. That doesn't seem. I feel like that's no.
That's not much.
That is low.
It is low.
Okay. I was like,
that's like 5%. I don't do math.
Yeah. Math hard.
There's a guy over here behind the computer who could probably tell us the math on that. But.
John, it doesn't sound right, but that's. I would give it at least 15.
Yeah, 15. I think would be
$15.
I need a calculator.
Math is
become
hard.
lazy.
Yeah, we know horror movies and Tales from the Crypt. We don't know math, and that's why.
If I had a spreadsheet, I could figure it out.
Yeah, because you would have that on the actual spreadsheet of what that is. So, how do you think Billy Zane would trick you into becoming a demon? What do you think? What do you think he would do?
What he would,
because like everybody had like their own scenario, like their one kryptonite.
No, that's a great question. I'm gonna steal that question.
Yeah, do it.
What would he do? He'd be like, "Hey, I heard you got a podcast.
Can I be on the podcast?" And you'd be like, "Shit, say less."
Yeah. You're like, "I'll come on your podcast, become a demon." I'm like,
you're like, dude, that'd be a really good episode.
Got a lot
of hits on that one. God, yeah.
What about you?
See, I asked the question and I was like, oh, I should think of an answer. I haven't actually thought of one.
Or John, what do you think?
John, you're also in on this too.
Probably something Lego related.
He's like, I have the most exclusive Lego set that's no longer around. And it's worth like $1 million. I have it for you, and I'll build it for you, and I'll be on your podcast.
I mean, listen,
building friendships.
I've seen enough to
John
know
Sosis.
that you don't fall for this. So I don't think I would fall for it. Obviously, that's what he would try to appeal with something like that. Like he appealed to what's her name with the arm.
Yeah,
which I thought was smart.
that he said, here's an arm. She's like, I don't need the arm. I'm giving you the finger.
That was one of my favorite scenes in this movie.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
because he puts it on the platter with the vegetables and
He's
stuff.
like, look, an arm, and she's like, it's already gone. Like, I don't want that.
And again, that's another bit of movie magic. Is like in the movie they make her kind of a bigger lady, but she's actually not in real life. They actually did that so they could hide her arm easier when it comes off.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at the little behind the scenes
But can you
trivia.
imagine showing up the set we actually want you to put a fat suit on
I mean,
for this big movie, this big Universal movie that everyone's going to see?
hey, if you're getting paid, you're getting paid.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm sure. But
You gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, I think, honestly, how Billy Zane would get me to become a demon is honestly probably through, I probably would be watching Scream or something.
a lot of screen.
Or just plain and simple, he disguises himself as Matthew Lillard. And I'd be like, yep, say this. I love you. What? Marry me. I'm sorry.
Do you think Stu's still alive? Are you on that train?
No, he's dead.
Oh, I'm on that train.
Keep him
Okay,
dead.
on that
Keep him
train.
dead.
He's in Scream 7.
John, you're on
100%.
every train for Scream.
100% he's still alive.
Billy's still alive.
No, Billy's gone.
Jill's alive. Everyone's alive. Charlie's alive.
Jill is dead.
Roman's
I love
alive.
Charlie.
Stu is alive.
Everyone's
alive.
alive. Everyone's alive.
Stu's alive and has been hidden, and Gail Weathers knows about it.
I'm Stu in 7.
Whoa.
What about that?
The whole thing's been one big dream.
What if it's all a dream? What if
all
Sydney,
7 movies.
she wakes up and she's in a psych ward and it's all been her nightmares and she just had sleep paralysis.
This is Human Centipede 2 all over again.
Oh no!
Oh, let's not bring up that movie. That movie.
Sorry, I just started. I'm sorry. Sorry, and sorry. It's a reflex when I hear that movie. John made me watch all 3 of them.
Oh, why? Why? I think
Because I'm a good person.
She's a lady of science, and I needed her to see that.
because that's all very scientifically accurate.
It is.
I'll go to bat for the first one to some degree. It's not nearly as bad as they make it out to be.
2 is really bad. 2 is worse than 1.
Yeah, 3
is not that bad.
is just so stupid.
3's honestly hilarious. I was like, what's
Yeah.
going on? This is absurd. This is so extreme and weird. And 1, you know what? I said, because we reviewed 2 and 3 as well. But I will say that the film did what it needed to do, and that's to gross out, and it did. It was disgusting. But speaking of gross and disgusting, just the demons were gross. The demons were gross, and also, Billy Zane punched a dude through the face.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I was like, okay, we're in it. And that was like kind of early on.
Yeah, so tell me like when that turn happened. Walk me through that.
Honestly, as soon as
So you're watching along. Okay, things are kind of
I'm like things are happening. Things are
little
happening.
slow,
I'm
not
like
much-
Billy Zane is like, oh okay, I'm a demon. Boo. I'm outside now. I'm bringing up my demon friends. Fuck being this cowboy. And then I think
the
honestly,
punch happened right before that.
I think the punch. I think it was the punch.
You're like, oh, okay.
I think it was the punch. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to jump off.
Here's where it starts kicking. Okay. And then I like after that, like when you like watch a movie and you're like, okay, I'm watching it. And then something happens and you're like, okay, now I'm interested. Like it was like that. I was like, okay,
Oh,
here it is.
CC Pounder does that spit take. Did you catch that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's any movie with a spit take, you gotta love.
We need more spit takes in
Yes.
movies. They're funny. They're funny.
And again, I'm a big sucker for like very technical things in movies. So
Yes.
like, there's a lot of beats between the punch and kind of in that whole like scene outside, because if you do it too quickly, people are still like trying to recover from that punch shock. So there need to be a few beats before that. And again, fucking Hollywood sometimes, they were trying to get the budget down on this. So at one point they said, you know what? Because originally Billy Zane's character, the Collector, before he was cast or anything, he was supposed to be a Bible salesman in disguise.
Okay.
And then when they open the Bible, it's all backwards and demonic. And that's when they realize that he's actually not who he thinks he is. So originally they wanted to go further with that. And instead of demons, just have like a whole army of Bible salesman guys, like men in black, people like in suits, like, door-to-door Bible salesmen.
Ooh.
But then they're like, wait, you can't take out all the demons in the movie called Demon Knights.
Yeah, we need the demons. That's the point.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point. I also I did. Let me ask you, because again, when you watch a movie, like I remember things, but then I also forget things because I'm just a forgetful person. I think my short-term memory has gone to shit.
No, and I've been watching this movie since I was
so
14,
you know
so-
better. They don't say that he's a demon knight. He never says that in the movie.
Himself?
Yeah, he never refers to himself as a demon knight.
I don't think so.
Okay, because
no, the Collector says it.
the Collector.
He says, I've never brought a demon knight over before. But I don't think Breaker ever says I'm a demon knight
Got it.
or whatever. Because remember, it's Demon Knight with a K.
Yeah, because he's a knight.
He's a knight.
Shining armor.
Yeah. That's why I really want a medieval version of this.
That'd be fun.
Like
That'd be
medieval
so
knight
fun.
knights
Night,
the medieval knights.
Night, demon knights.
Night of the Demon Knights.
Ooh.
So Night N of the Demon Knights K with a K.
Yes. Wow. Look at, hey.
Yeah. Trademark
I want
it.
to trademark it. No one steal it. I'll hunt you down. No one steal it. Oh my God. Do you have any other favorite moments in this movie?
Oh, there's so many.
I know. There was some great. I mean, I just love the punch.
The punch is
I'm
great.
sorry. I'm so sorry. That's such a so funny.
Well, there's that punch, and then the punch to the face, where just like the movie just has that big turn.
Yeah.
And again,
The cliffhanger.
the cliffhanger. Exactly.
Oh.
It's such a good setup for another movie, and it's just begging for it. And I'm sure Jada probably wouldn't want to do it.
Oh,
or I'm sure
100%.
that, like, rights wise, they can't do it. But like,
Why not?
yeah,
What?
it's such a great like the nut.
All I kept thinking about was if there are any demons on the bus, they now live on the bus.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would suck. I guess I live
Because
here
isn't
now.
that guy at the end the Bible salesman? Just to go back to what you were just talking about, isn't he? He's dressed like a Bible salesman as he's looking at the seal around the bus door. So
Yeah.
that could lead into a sequel where there is that aspect of it. But all I kept thinking was, oh, he won't get on the bus because of the seal. He's obviously a demon. If there are any demons on that bus, they now can't get off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing I've always wondered about the movie is like, can she fill it with her own blood? Just get like just draw blood and fill it with her own?
She has to now because that when they handed it to Breaker, they gave him that power. Like when he got electrocuted, that's why when the kid killed him, he filled it up with his blood.
Right.
So now when he gave it to her, she got that electrocution thing.
Right.
And now she's the demon knight that has to fill it with her blood before she dies or when she dies. And
But-
she also drank the blood, which was completely
Yeah, that was cool.
For why?
Also gross.
why what?
For like, but no, I know she drank it to like protect herself, but like,
No, she didn't drink it to protect
like, to,
herself.
like,
She
to
drank it
spit.
to spit it at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I don't know why you also wouldn't swallow it because then it would protect you more.
Maybe.
You know,
but, I
that's
mean,
like that's
but,
like a
no.
theory. I don't know.
But like again, if Breaker was in World War One and this was 1994, so whatever math, that's like 60, 50 years.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't it say the blood of
The blood of Christ. It says the blood
No.
of
Well,
Christ.
like the original blood, so like you gotta figure some small percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that genetic material that's been refilled throughout the years? But like, has he been filling the key with his own blood for 50 years? Because eventually, if he's gonna, every time he goes into a room, if he's gonna steal
it runs out. That's what I was gonna say. It runs out eventually, and he says you have till it runs out or something.
But when you see him pouring it like on the windowsill, he literally puts just a drop. So there's a good chance it does last a long time. Like that vial lasted a long time. But then when it falls over and it starts leaking, he freaks out because it was leaking pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I think he's been very careful about how much he uses
Got
when
it.
he
So-
seals things. But
So I guess the modern version of this, you'd have some guy who was just like working from home. His whole house is sealed. He's just getting Uber Eats every day. Doesn't
Yeah.
leave anywhere. He's got all of his Netflix and stuff. Gets everything delivered. He's good.
Yeah, he's fine.
yeah, not a bad way to live.
Yeah, I'm like,
I
I'd
mean,
take that.
it's that reminded me of Zombieland.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's just vibing. Yeah,
yeah.
hanging out.
Or like Bo Burnham's Inside
Inside,
special.
yes.
That's like,
Yes. He's
never I'm just making my music, keeping
just
the
hang
demons
out.
out.
Yeah, keep the demons out. If it wasn't for that guy Roach, if it wasn't for him and Billy Zane getting into people's heads, honestly, they could have lived a nice, decent life in that house. I mean, I don't think there was a lot of food or water.
Yeah. And they never explain what happens at sunrise. Like,
Yeah.
like do the lower level demons go away? Is that the trick? But you still have the collector running around because we see the new collector during the day.
Yeah.
So they never quite. It's one of those things they never quite specify, but you just kind of assume it's kind of like, it's the Night of Living Dead kind of thing.
Yeah. Also, so when you're a lower demon, are you always a lower demon, or is there a way to get promoted? Because like Billy Zane, he didn't look like anyone else. So what does the highest level demon look like?
I don't know.
And then do they get promoted? Again, I want to know the tier system. I want to know.
Was this new guy one of the demons we saw before?
Yeah, and
in
then
the
he
movie?
got
And then he got promoted.
And now he's like,
you did a good job with that one talent slide.
he's like, you know what? You did so good at taking that guy's soul. We're going to promote you. Middle management, hear me out. The collector.
But you have to tell us all the things the other demons are doing that we don't know about.
Oh, yeah. And he's like, 100%. I love to snitch. I love to snitch. And he's like, yes, sir.
Demons be snitching.
Demons be snitching. And snitches get stitches. Or their soul's taken.
Or the soul's taken.
Or both.
Or both.
Probably both.
But you get some cool piercings.
Yeah. They were fun. A lot of the demons had like insane. I was like, okay. Demons with earrings.
I know.
Nice.
That's cool. Well, again, this is the 90s-ness of it where piercings and stuff were all big. Like there's like a nipple piercing. Like, come on. Let your freak flag fly.
Crazy. Demons with nipple piercings. Wait, did the demons have a nipple piercing?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Look at that. Look at that. The 90s.
The 90s.
90s were whack. They were crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They were crazy. Okay. Any final thoughts about this movie?
Oh gosh, so many thoughts. It's just, I think there's certain movies that if you think in an alternate universe, if they were made by different people with different actors and different budget, they'd just be okay. But sometimes a movie gets elevated. I think it's a great script to begin with, but you could see it being like, just your run of the mill 90s, late 80s kind of horror cheap movie.
Yeah.
But because it got picked up to be a Crypt movie, you got a really good director, an amazing cast, amazing effects, everything's kind of come together to make a really underrated movie. And that's another reason why I suggested it, because anytime I get to champion this movie and hopefully bring it to other people to see and then discover, just makes me happy.
It was so fun. I'm really glad that you had me watch this, because I don't think I would have ever thought about to watch
Exactly.
this. So no, that was super fun. It's definitely a movie that I will sit down and watch again, because I think there's so much to it, and it's just fun.
It's just fun, yeah.
It's just it's a fun movie, and I definitely think it would be a fun movie to watch with a lot of people, and both champion it, but also poke fun.
Oh yeah, that's
and the best way. It's silly, but in the best way possible, because I love those kind of movies. They make me happy.
Exactly. And again, I'm not to quote promote my podcast, but also
please.
to promote my podcast that we have interviews again with William Sadler. I got to talk to the screenwriters, and I wrote down every single question I could, and just got to exhaust every possibility. And I just, if you think I'm geeking out right now,
oh no, you were geeking out way harder. Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
And with the director Ernest Dickerson, again, really cool guys, some really great movies. So if you want to know more about Demon Knight, go check all those things out.
Yes. So, out of 10, how do you rate Demon Knight?
Again, on what scale though? My personal scale?
Yeah. So,
or in the pantheon of cinema.
I say on your personal scale. What do you think? And it's when I watch a movie, as soon as I get out of the theater, whatever number I first think of, that is the correct number. Or whenever I first watch a movie, it's that number.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it's probably my top 5 movies.
Okay.
So I guess that's a 9.5, a 10, whatever you give it. It's just, again, I watched it when I was in probably middle school. So it's just it just hit me in the right time, the right way of okay. Yeah, first you're okay, boobs, blood, scary shit. Okay, cool. But then as I go older, I see more themes and the bigger world building and qualities in the movie. And it feels always hokey saying that, because of course I like the Tales from the Crypt movie, but fuck yeah, dude,
if you like it, you like it. Who cares? That's awesome. That's awesome. I gave it a 6.
Okay.
And I have a hard scale. That's just my own personal scale. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense, but I thought honestly it was very fun. It was such a fun movie. Was it the greatest movie I've ever seen? Horror movie? No. But I liked it a lot, and I definitely will be sitting down to watch it again.
Yeah, I think when you watch it again, you're oh, that's actually, it holds up really well.
No, I'm excited to watch it again. Genuinely, some of these films, I'm I'm never gonna watch this again. This is one that I will actually watch again. Yeah, because it was chaotic, it was fun, it was silly.
There's some movies that is there a better version of this movie? And I can't really think of anything that I would improve. It might not be someone's cup of tea, but for that specific kind of movie, does the movie achieve what it wants to do?
Yes.
And I can't think of anything that this movie's striving for that it doesn't achieve.
Yeah, I agree.
John, what do you give this movie?
I mean, it's probably one of my favorite horror movies. I would probably give it 7.5, 8.
Okay.
I mean, it's very hokey. I think now we can look back and say it's fucking Billy Zane, but Billy Zane like didn't even do Titanic at this point.
Right.
I think Titanic, once he was cast in Titanic, they were like, we gotta rush this out now because he's gonna be huge. And I think that's why when you look back, it does have this cult feel to it. But yeah, I love it. I've seen it a ton of times.
It's very fun.
Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing. We don't have the casting director from Titanic on the record, but supposedly this is the movie that they saw. Like, okay, he'd be good for this.
I mean,
Titanic
he
role.
plays a really good villain.
And also, this is the first time on screen he's gone completely bald. Before all his roles before that, he always had like a hairpiece or he had hair. Then he was going bald, and he had like a suitcase or a briefcase full of hairpieces.
Okay.
And when you met with the producers, they're like, okay, which one do you think would be working for this role? And at that moment, he shaved his head for something else. And they're like, huh. It kind of gives you this like kind of otherworldly quality in a way. It's something the audience hadn't seen him for because he's been in a lot. He was like in
He's
Back to
been
the
a lot,
Future movies, yeah. So it's really, I think it's his real like breakout role.
Yeah. Demon Knight.
Demon Knight,
You heard it
yeah.
here. Demon Knight is Billy Zane's breakout role.
Who knows what he's gonna do next?
Who knows? I mean, he's at Comic-Cons all the
There's
time.
that boat movie he was working on.
Did you say the...
Boat.
I thought you said butt
Movie.
butt movie. I was like,
butt
I'm
movie.
sorry, what movie? I'm sorry? Okay, amazing.
He's the new Captain Underpants. He's gonna play Captain Underpants.
He's going to be Captain Underpants? Or he's in the movie?
I'm just saying that would be amazing.
Oh, got it. I was like,
Have you've read the Captain Underpants?
oh, yeah.
Oh, I love
yeah.
it. My kids love it.
They're so fun.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I was like, whoa, let's go back. Hold on. He's playing Captain Underpants?
That's who I would.
That's who you would
Him or
cast
Nick
as
Offerman.
as the live action, or
Yeah,
as
he did the live action,
you want Billy Zane to be
Billy
the
Zane
live action,
or Nick Offerman maybe.
Okay, that's hilarious. Both of those are very different, and
Depends on what vibe they're going.
yeah. I like either vibe. They're very different, and it would bring us something special and unique to the table that the world has never seen before and can never unsee.
You never haven't seen
And,
Billy Zane or Nick Offerman in diapers.
Yeah, honestly, 10 out of 10. I'd watch it.
The animated one they did was actually pretty good.
Of the
Yeah,
Captain Underpants.
I
I've
recommend
not seen
it.
that one.
Like, check it out.
Okay.
It's one of those things I wouldn't watch if my kids didn't watch it.
Yeah.
But once I did, I was like, that's actually sometimes when you
You
have
watch
kids,
kids.
you're forced to watch things, and
Yeah.
then it turns out you kind of like it.
Yeah, I nannied a lot,
Oh, okay.
and I forced the kids to watch things I want to watch that I used to watch when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we want to watch Clifford. And I'm like, we're gonna watch the OG Clifford. We're not watching this new shit, whatever this
Do
is.
they want to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? And you're like, no, we're gonna watch the '80s cartoon.
No, they don't want to watch that. Now they want to watch adult grown men playing with toys
Ugh,
in their basement on YouTube.
That's creepy.
And I'm like, that is so creepy. That is so creepy. That's a whole nother. I could talk about that forever. I is so weird. Hours. And I am like, you do this for a living. And I love that for you. But also,
the fuck.
dude, you're I would be embarrassed. Like, what do you do for a living? You know what? We don't gotta talk about that. We don't gotta
I'm in sales.
I don't gotta bring that up. I'm a creator.
I'm a collector of keys.
Oof,
That's like
I am Billy Zane. I am Billy Zane.
that's what Billy Zane should do. Starts on YouTube channel where he plays with kids.
He's
toys.
just God. He could get so many kids' souls through that.
Okay.
We're
We're not going down that
why-
conspiracy.
Hey, why not? Why not? Well, thank you for being here today. Where can the people find you and your podcast?
Yeah, so we are Dads from the Crypt on pretty much everything on the Twitter, whatever it's going to be called by the time this comes out. It's Crypt Dads, but I don't
X.
really know. I'm sure by
It might change.
by the time this comes out, I'm sure it'll be something different.
True.
So that there were Crypt Dads on Instagram, Threads, everywhere else. Dads from the Crypt. You can find us on all major podcasting providers. That Dads from the Crypt, and also YouTube. We're on Dads from the Crypt.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Brand synergy.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having
It's been
me.
great. And guys, thank you for tuning in, watching, listening, whatever you're doing. Thanks for watching. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Katie.Afraidy. There's someone who stole Katie Afraidy, the username, and she's only got 60 followers. I might bribe her for it. We'll see. But for now, it's Katie.Afraidy. But guys, thank you for tuning in. And if you see Billy Zane and you're just watching TV and all of a sudden he pops up on your screen and he starts trying to convince you to give him your soul, don't do it. I don't think it's a good idea. You're going to get really ugly. And he's going to make you a lot of false promises.
You know, you get those emails from people saying, "Oh, I can help you grow your brand and everything." And they're like, "Oh, we promise you they're not fake followers. We're going to get you real followers."
Yep.
That's like the low-level demons.
Got it.
Billy Zane's the one that's going to show up and it's like, "Hey, I can help you with your brand."
He's a pyramid scheme.
But he's like the middle pyramid guy.
Yes. I love that. I
The
love
guy
that.
that like rents out like a hall at the Marriott
Yes.
and gets people to come to his speech.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my TED Talk.
And he gives you like a free weekend at
Yes.
Lake Tahoe, but it turns out
It's a timeshare.
yeah,
It's a
some shitty
timeshare.
timeshare. Yeah,
Dude, that's how they get you.
that's how they get you.
That's how they get you. Oh my goodness. But guys, thank you. And thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Katie.
Been great. See you next time. Thank you to our sponsor, Filmcraft Studio Gear. You can find all their cool gear at filmcraftla.com or on Instagram at filmcraftla.
Thank you.